It's a. Oh, there we go. Oh my gosh, this is.
Welcome everyone to Think Outside Podcast. I have the double gold world champion black bass world champs right with me. I've got Ott DeFoe and Drew Gill.
Hey JT, how are you?
I'm doing good. Not as good as you guys.
I don't know about that.
The real question is, have you caught up on sleep?
Yeah, actually, as of recording this, Drew and I are both in Wisconsin at a team series event. And actually coming here was a good chance for me to catch up on sleep because at home going to volleyball games every night of the week and, being up late for that, then getting up early, taking the kids to school was not as good a place to catch up on sleep. But when I got up here to Wisconsin, it was like, hey, Dad's got a break. I could sleep in.
That's true.
Yeah.
But not Drew. You're probably fishing every off day, finding a new body of water. I won't say anything, but maybe,
Perhaps.
Yeah.
It's really cool to come to these events because it kind of, you're going to have some off days for sure. And it kind of locks you in where if you bring your boat and you're willing to drive outside of the 60-mile radius that you can't fish in, you get to do some pretty cool stuff. And it's always a fun time. We got to have a handful of us on the boat. It was Marshall and Marty Robinson and Nick LeBrun, and we all got to go fun fishing yesterday, and that was a really good time.
Nice.
I've already texted him asking for some dots on where that was at. Too.
Yeah, me too. When he called me last night. Oh no, I'm not telling you that. Of course.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people they don't understand what this whole black bass world championship is. So that's what we kind of wanted to come on here and bring more light to it and talk about it. Like, how did you guys get invited to represent Team USA, or is it do you have to qualify for it, or how does that all come about?
Mm-hmm. It was kind of a selection process, I guess you would say, not any hard and fast qualifiers, but Kevin Van Dam being the captain. Is it Captain Kevin? Is that right?
Captain
I think he was the coach. So the captains were Wheeler and Scott, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. So, but between Scott and Jacob have done this event a bunch, but I think between them and Kevin, they kind of put their heads together and tried to build a team that they thought could go halfway around the world and have a chance to represent the U.S. well. And I know, speaking for myself, I was certainly honored to even be in the mix for that. That was kind of how that went. Is that pretty accurate, Drew?
Yeah, it's a selection process. It's not a qualification process. So based on what they feel the holes are in both the fishing side of the event and the media side of the event, wherever they feel like they have a need, they try to fill that with somebody that they feel suits that role. So that was kind of how their selection process went.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they selected right, putting you two together, because not only did you help USA win, but you also were the individual team champions with I think you averaged over 20 pounds a day for 3 days in a row. I'm not going to lie. The one thing that I did not understand the penalties. That first day I'm reading, I'm like, okay, I don't know. What do you mean we had penalties? So, did you, half-pound penalty, dead fish, we're thinking of all the USA stuff, but it goes by each one of you of how you finish, right? Kind of explain that. Because I know in the comment sections online, that was crazy. People are like, I don't understand how we're in second or first or what.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell them how that
Yep. So penalties is a really poor choice of words because it just means points. So basically it's unlike, golf, you can go negative, you can go below par, but in this, you get a point for every place you finish, meaning there's 45 boats in the event. If you finish first in a day, you get a point. If you finish 45th in the day, you get 45 points. So the goal is for the team as a whole to score the fewest points possible. So in the event, for example, me and Ott tied for ninth. So each day is an individual tournament. It's 3 one-day tournaments that they add the points together on at the end. So the weight's not cumulative. The points are cumulative. So it's based on how you finish each day. So the first day we tied for ninth. So we got like 9.5 points. And then day 2 and day 3, we won the day. So we got 1 and 1. So we ended up with 11.5 points at the end of, or penalties by the end of the tournament. So you accrue penalty points based on where you finish in the field. So they add those together after 3 days of fishing, 3 individual single tournament days. That's how they calculate who won the tournament.
Yeah, somebody I think on the 3rd day finally broke it down. I really read it. I was like, okay, now I get it. Maybe I might have just acted like that. So before you came on, Drew, we were just behind the scenes talking about the travel. I've been to Africa. I went over there hunting. There's probably some animals over here somewhere from that. But the long flight, the travel, like how did you guys figure out, like, what were you even allowed to take for equipment? Like, I think I talked to you and you were taking reels off of rods and everything like that. So it's like what were you allowed to take over?
So as far as equipment goes, I took a checked bag that was between anywhere from 50 pounds all the way over to 60 pounds all the way back because we had hardware to bring back that I didn't anticipate. And then I had a rod tube that had like 17 or 18 rods and a bunch of plastic shoved down in it. And then I had another carry-on that was like 30-something pounds and a backpack that I had full. So between a backpack, a carry-on, a checked bag, and a rod tube, I was able to get 17 rods, 13 or 14 reels. And then I took all the plastics and I think 4 or 5 tackle trays. And that's what I was able to take with me. So it was a somewhat limited selection. You were able to take a good handful of what you felt was essential. But if you're a guy that has 40 tackle trays that you feel is essential, that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, I ended up taking about a dozen rod and reels. That's, it was one of those kind of deals where you take one of each of what you think instead of 2 or 3. But so I took about a dozen rod and reels, and I had a lot more tackle, even though I went through it. My first load of tackle, my bag weighed 88 pounds. Well, I looked to see what the overweight is. That it's the first level of overweight is up to 70. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna shoot for 70, and between my other carry-on. I was able to actually end up putting a lot of my plastics in that and get that to where it was probably 30-something pounds, and my check bag was in the 60-some range. Clothes was the least thing that I took. Also, I took my GoPros and some battery packs and stuff like that, so that was a little bit extra weight there. But it was enough, and we had talked about it beforehand. To kind of Drew was taking this, I was taking that, so we didn't both double up on a bunch of the same stuff. I took no straight tail worms. Drew obviously took some straight tail worms. I took a lot of chatterbaits. So we tried to make sure that we had any holes filled between the two of us with what we were taking.
So you're saying Drew did have a Nico rig hooked up, is what you're trying to say?
Maybe, and a drop shot even.
Yeah.
Whoa. So I mean that that's going to be a question. Were you able to use forward-facing sonar? Like, what were the boats? Like, what'd you guys have on the boats? Like, what was that like?
So in terms of equipment, we had all Lowrance products on ours in terms of the graphs and trolling motors. We had a Ghost, Active Target, and all Lowrance units. So the people at Tomcat set all that up, and they did, that's sidebar, but they did a great job of keeping us on the water, keeping all of our equipment running. And we were the only team to have all brand new boats that we were fishing out of, which was really nice.
Wow.
But we were fishing with Lowrance equipment. So for me, I use scope, I use Garmin graphs, and I use an Ultrex, and Ott uses an Ultrex as well. So it was definitely a big adjustment in terms of equipment for going from what we're used to that. But it's kind of like stepping into a league boat. When we're in one of these team events, it's pretty similar to the equipment we use for these team tournaments. So, it's very different. And Active Target did play a big role in how we ended up catching them over there. The place was starting to drop. There was a lot of trash fish in the lake, and it was a place that really you had to be able to generate a handful of big bites a day, but you were never going to generate 5, 6, 7, 10 giant bites in a day. You were going to try to generate 2 or 3 a day. So it was really important to stay as efficient as possible. So Active Target definitely played a big role.
So what are their trash fish?
Asian carp.
Oh, wow.
They
Everywhere.
were regular,
Absolutely.
common carp too, but yeah, Asian carp was a bunch of them.
And gators. Crocs. No, Crocs. You're in Africa.
Crocodiles.
Crocodiles. You're in Africa. Yeah, I say gators, but yeah, you're over there in crocodile country.
Yeah, there was
They
some
don't
grass
play
on
nice.
the bank.
Crocs don't play nice either.
There was grass on the bank, what we would call gator grass. I'm like, well, I guess it's crocodile grass over here.
But you said but you guys caught what, 3 over 7 or 6? 7? I mean, you caught at least one big one every day.
Yeah. So the first day we weighed all solid ones. Had a few high 2s, a 3 1/4, and a 4 1/2. And then the second day we had 2 7s, a 5, and 2 2 and changes. The last day we had a 7, 5, 4, and 2 high 2s. So like every day, your filler fish were going to be mid-high 2 pounders. And it was just about how many bites over 5 could you generate. Over practice and the tournament, we generated 7 bites over 5, and we only had 3 or 4 bites between 3 and 5. We had 4 bites between 3 and 5, and we had 7 bites over 5. So the place has got a really lopsided population. It's clearly not super managed. So the population of fish, of every kind of fish, just kind of sorts itself out. And so it's a really weird dynamic that we really don't have present in most of our reservoirs. Because generally in most of our reservoirs, you're going to have a fairly consistent distribution from a million small ones to some decent ones to it's going to trickle out toward the big end. There was a ton of small ones, non-existent population of decent ones, and a noticeable population of giant.
Yeah, it almost felt like there were some year classes missing. And that fishery isn't on a schedule deal. I mean, you've been to Africa, so you know that, they deal with a lot of dry weather. That dam, as they call it, that lake is there for, for irrigation for the farms and stuff around it. So it's either filling up because they're having big rains or it's going down at a steady pace due to irrigating the farms and stuff around it. So, you could look at Google Earth pictures and see there's it spends a considerable amount of time with not a lot of cover in the water other than some rock and some timber. When we were there, it was basically a full pool, and there was a decent amount of, of actually shoreline vegetation and stuff that young bass could survive in. And like Drew said, there's tons and tons of them. I mean, sub 1 pound. Like the last few spawns have been excellent, but it felt like there were some spawns that were just completely missing, which could have been from some of those, dry years, or something going on.
I don't think one of the things that people, and I hope the viewers here that understand it. It's one thing when you guys show up to your home lake. You guys know I'm on Table Rock, so when you guys obviously Red Crest. No, I'm not going to say anything. So don't. Drew's going to immediately say, "Shut up, JT," because I get that a lot. But it's one thing when you guys show up to a place and people follow you and they learn and they see you like, man, I fished this lake my whole life. And these guys come out here and they show me this, they show me that. You literally flew to an entire country, kicked butt, 20 pounds a day. I mean, and it, like you said, Google Earth, you brought up Google Earth. Like, how do you go into, how much practice did you guys get? And like, how did you just like, hey, man, we're going to go find these bass? I mean, you're two of the best, obviously, at what you do. But I mean, kind of break that down for people, because I don't think people understand how crazy that is, that you flew halfway around the world and still crank out 20 pounds and come home with double gold. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that lake, it was only about 3,200 acres, so not as much as Long Creek Arm of Table Rock, so it's not a real big fishery. But we did the 3 official practice days, which they were only about 8 or 9 hour days, because they would actually, you'd blast off and then had to be checked in by 4 o'clock each day. So it was, it wasn't a daylight to dark practice day, but we had 3 days of that on a 3,200 acre fishery, which is, hour per acre more than what we would have on anywhere we ever fished during the season. The other part of that is we've got 6 really good guys on our team, and we're communicating throughout the day. So you put 6 of us together that are all actually working together on a 3,200 acre lake, 9 hours a day, 27 hours. We looked at pretty much the vast majority, if not everything, that really should end up playing in the event. I feel like, that's hours per acre for our team. We covered the bases. I feel like pretty good.
Yeah, that is something I didn't even think about the whole team aspect. It's kind of like when a couple years ago when you guys had the three teams and the headsets on and you could talk to each other, and that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was a neat deal. I like these two guys in the boat better. I certainly enjoy these more myself.
Team fishing.
Yeah, because it's it's just these are different.
I'm assuming it's you and Andy again, and it's you and Marshall, right? Yep. Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what do you like? What's the winning over there? Do you just win trophies? Is it money? Obviously I saw the medals and the trophies, but is that what it's about? Just taking the title? Is there any money or anything involved?
It's medals, a couple glass trophies, a couple certificates, a stuffed animal, and the pride and joy of beating everyone else at a sport that we spend so much time and effort and money on. Something that a lot of us have dedicated our lives to, and been lucky enough to be born in a time and place where that's even possible. But to go over there and show them, hey, when it comes to bass fishing, USA, baby, it's national pride. That's what you fish for.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, there's just something. I mean, not many people can get to say they represent their country in anything. And you think about the Olympics, you think about all that kind of stuff, and like the world wrestling was going on this last week, and I was a wrestling coach. So I was kind of paying attention to that. But I mean, it's bass fishing. I mean, it's your sport. You know what I'm saying? Something you guys have honed your craft on, and you're able to represent the country. I mean, you ever think it'd be an Olympic event?
I don't know. I hope so.
They have speed walking.
It would be really cool. Of the specifications that are required to reach Olympic prominence, one, they have to approve it, but one of the hard, number base, like you can put a tag on it, is you got to have over 75 countries, I believe it is, that participate internationally in the sport. I think that'll be the biggest hurdle. Bass fishing is something that, in terms of doing it to the extent of tournament fishing precedents, you got to have equipment, you got to have a boat, a truck, you got to have tackle, you got to have access to public water. You've got to have enough people interested that you can hold a competition. And so it's one of those things that I would love to see it reach that point, obviously. But right now, as far as just reaching the sheer number of countries that have to be involved with it, they've got some work to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, like, you talked about it being basically a nomination type deal and stuff like that. So, like, where is who's funding it? Like, where's it? Is it sponsors just like everything else, MLF and Bass? I mean, is that where the funding's coming from? Just, endemic sponsorship in the U.S.?
Yeah, it's not from either league or anything. It's from sponsors, and that's, with the jerseys we were wearing there, those are all sponsors for Team USA, USA Bass Org. And Hot Springs is hosting the event next year. Yep. And Hot Springs was a big sponsor of our Team USA. Bass Pro Shops is a big sponsor of it. But yeah, there's a whole list of sponsors. Those are the two that come to mind right off the top of my head, just because they were some of the largest on the jersey. But yeah, they've got a whole list of sponsors. But if somebody out there wants to support it, just individually, obviously those, and you have a business want to do that, but even just an individual, you're like, hey, I'd love to support it, just in any way possible. They just buying the hats, like the Team USA sells hats, and you can buy the hats just like what we were wearing. You can check out their Facebook or Instagram page and find out where to buy those. But that's a simple way for anybody to be like, hey, I've got country pride. I love to bass fish, and I just want to buy a hat to support the team. That's a way to do that as well.
So how much interaction, like, with the other countries and the other anglers? I mean, were they picking your brains too? I mean, they know that the U.S. has, got a lot of fisheries and stuff like that. I mean, I know there's a language barrier for a lot of them, but I mean, how did that work out?
So most of the teams that were there, most of them had at least a couple members of the team, if not the entire team, that had a level of English understanding. So like pretty much all of them had a couple anglers that spoke English very well, if not the entire team. So we were able to communicate with a lot of the teams pretty well. And here's the other thing is like of these other countries, you talk about Portugal and Spain, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Canada, Mexico, Italy, you go on down the list. They have their own individual MLF-based tournament trail in their country that sends a bunch of those countries' anglers to the Toyota Championship every year. So they do want to talk about it, and they're those guys are hardcore bass fishermen, and a lot of the questions that I got were specifically related to that tournament. Like that is for them. They have 2 tournaments a year that are a really big deal, and it's that Black Bass World Championship and flying to the States to go fish the Toyota Championship in November. So that's what most of the conversation was with a lot of those other anglers. And man, they're up to date on tournament fishing. They're up to date on techniques. They watch our events. So those guys, they're gamers. They want it.
That was honestly probably my part that I was most disappointed in. Just in the setup of this event, JT, was like from talking to the guys that fished at Italy last year. Every team was at the same hotel. They could walk to their boats. So like the interaction that they got to have and just the hangout time with the other countries was pretty good. Like they got to do that a lot, nearly every evening, hanging out the boats, rigging tackle, that kind of stuff, getting to talk with other people. Just the logistics of this event in Africa where it was, being at different lodges and that kind of stuff. The Namibia team was only the team who was staying where we were. So, and then the boats were kept offside at a different place. Like it was a logistical hurdle to have this event where it was. So the fact they pulled it off was amazing. But the biggest takeaway that I feel like we missed out on because of this was that just getting to hang out with other teams and stuff. So hopefully next year, they'll be able to do that a little bit more. Yeah,
that camaraderie, just talking to people from other countries, and that, especially when they share the same passion as you.
Yeah.
They want to talk fishing and stuff like that. That's every country that I've ever been in, whether I was in the military or just traveled and hunted and done stuff. I always love to just go talk to people, go see their, try their food, try their everything else, just learn more about it. That's what I tell people. Like when I was out in Africa, that was some of the absolute best food. I mean, wildebeest. You think of a wildebeest, that just doesn't even sound like it's very good. And I mean, that was some of the best beef I've ever had in my life. I mean, it was fantastic.
We definitely missed that experience.
Yeah, and the people. I mean, it's cool just to take in that. So obviously, I mean, would you guys both ever do this again if you were lucky enough to do it again?
Yeah, absolutely. That's honestly, if it that's supposed to go back to Africa in a couple of years, I would desire it to be somewhere else just because it would be something new again. Logistically, it probably is easy for them to do it in the same place because they have. Little noise in here for a minute, but yeah, it was definitely a cool experience.
So on another note, how cool was it to look over at Wheeler and hold up your gold medals? Say, look, you didn't win something, Jacob. We did.
Now, JT, it was a team effort.
Hey, if I had
in my mind, that didn't cross my mind one time, not once.
I know your dad, and I know you should not lie.
Yeah.
I would, if Wheeler was on here, I'd be saying the same thing. He's like, "Yeah, man, I get it. Yeah."
Jacob's that legitimacy factor that it doesn't matter if you're fishing a local tournament against 10 boats or you're fishing a tournament with 1,000 boats. If Jacob's in the field, there's the bar. Doesn't matter how many people are in the field. If you beat him, you did something.
Yeah.
Always. No matter where you go, no matter if you're 8,400 miles from home, if you beat him, you did something.
And he took that loss just like he lost the Red Crest. I mean, I know he does. He lives to win, just like you guys do. I mean, nobody wants to come in second. You want to win, and just it's really cool. Not only, like I said, to win that, but when you guys came in and dominated. I mean, was 8 pounds? I think you won by 8 pounds.
I think individual weight, it would have been something. Right.
I mean, that's a lot for you. Have what 45? It wasn't 45 countries. It was 45 boats, right?
45 boats, 15
45
countries.
boats, or however many countries. But I mean, still, that's That's a butt whooping. Was it? Did you weigh in? Was it 5? Was it? I mean, did they have a marshal in your boat, or you actually brought them in? Did a whole group weigh in? And okay, see,
We didn't bring the fish in.
Okay, so they weighed him in on and let him go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a catch weigh release deal. They had a. I don't know if this guy's yakking on the phone back here really loud. I don't know if it's noisy on that end, but
yeah, right.
But yeah, they were using an app-based deal, and it was called KeepNet. It was a really neat system to do catch weigh release with, but it was a 5-fish limit.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I know you guys got to get back to your team event. Ott's got to have supper here, so.
Yeah, I think Andy just texted me. I think it's about time for me to run up here. So, yeah, I appreciate it.
Tell everybody good luck up there. And, like I said, guys, check out the Black Bass World Championships. Support these guys. It will be in Hot Springs, Arkansas next year. So log on to their website, check it out, help support them, or at least attend the event and check it out. Meet some of these guys from the other countries.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the time, JT.
No problem. Hey, good luck up there, fellas.
Appreciate it.
Oh, there we go. Oh my gosh, this is